can see outside.
Hello and welcome to UK Versus. We are talking five handers and just in in general design decisions around the game as it is. I did have a different topic in mind, but seemed to be in the middle of Star Championship season, so no one was available to talk about it. So Cameron came up with the idea of talking about five handers and other design decisions that are going on, and I thought that was a very cool kind of topic to cover over. And yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. So today it's just myself and of course UVS Hermit Cameron, who is still recovering from the burn of last week.
That was so funny. Like it hurt. It stung, but it was funny. I got a golf clappy on that one.
Exactly. So, what is it about five handers and the design of the game at the minute that made you want to talk about it?
Well, at first, it was the fact that we only in at least the last couple of sets. Let me fix something on my ultra here. Uh had only seen like one five-hander or two five-handers per set. I mean, obviously when you have bigger sets, a larger roster, there's going to be more, but like I had been seeing like not a lot of five-handers printed, and at first I was kind of wondering why. Like we get one in Guilty Gear with Potemkin, we got one in Turtles with Metalhead, we got two in Apocalypse, which were Aaron Yeager Usurper and Mikasa Ackerman Hizaru's Hope. We did get four in Critical Role, but again, that was a larger roster. We got three and a half technically for Origins, uh, and only one in Attack on Titan Battle for Humanity. So at first I was just kind of wondering, why don't we like five handers anymore? Because I don't know about you, Brett. I know you don't really care for five handers very much, but I love characters that can just sit there and power through the hard way. Um, I like characters who can use their health as a resource, so that they don't have to play as much defense. And I was kind of thinking, why we've kind of fallen off that kind of package lately. I know there's been a lot of talk and discourse online about the meta right now and where it's going. I've seen a lot of very thoughtful write ups. Um, and it just got my brain thinking. I'm like, yeah, with this style of play that's kind of really aggressive, it's really dominated by six hand size characters. And I wondered why, when it comes to aggression, you don't see like a lot of seven hand size characters flying around, or very controlly five handers that can just tank a bunch of stuff to try to disrupt that. And that really just got my brain working on this whole kind of premise on looking into character design pre AOT into even some retro stuff that I from back when I started playing into AOT and beyond, and kind of where it looks like their design is putting their I just blinked out of existence for a second there.
All good.
Where design is putting their prowess into like what makes a good five hander, what makes a good seven hander, and kind of where I think they might be falling short on spreading the love around.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I'm just gonna quickly send Connor over the link because he got home early today, so and Connor does love his five handers.
Yay! It's not just me preaching on my soapbox for an hour and a half.
But no,
I was afraid of that.
it is something that we've seen with other decisions at the minute. We've seen a decreased number of deadlock. We've seen a decreased number of zero diff foundations. And the fact that TMNT and Guilty Gear at the minute seem to have no deadlock outside of the self deadlock in TMNT.
Which honestly, I freaking love that idea. I love but I love weird play styles anyway. I'm a very out of the box type person. That's why for our deck building challenge, I told my locals for next week they get to pick my character, and I'll build whoever they say, and I just kind of gotta roll with the punches on that one. So that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, 500s are something I noticed were declining, but I had it, like I said, I hadn't really thought about it. And the five handers that are meta relevant are ones that are either not true five handers, such as Mikasa,
Yeah,
or they're ones that are so aggressive in their playstyle that they just don't care about being a five hander, or they have access to a ridiculous amount of draw power, especially thanks to attunements in things like Devil Jin having access to the fire and chaos and evil aspects, with chaos having so much draw, especially under its tune symbols, and just being able to keep popping through. And yeah, the amount of recursion that things that they now have, they're able to play around their hand size and leverage their health. And then, as you said, with Attack on Titan, we got the increased health totals. Seven handers are creeping up. We're now not seeing as many below 20 700s we saw before. They're all now at this 20, 21, 22, 23. Six handers used to have this average of 27, 28, and now they're more averaging 30 to 33. Whereas five handers, yes, we have Byakugo and Metalhead, but they're kind of
they're kind of the
outliers.
outliers.
They're not the they're not the actual kind of like trading posts. They're not the actual not trading posts. They're not the actual
Standard.
standard. So I'm just
Yeah.
getting. So while I just get Connor set up, well, you're not. You might currently be. No, you're not currently speaking because I've not got you in yet. But why don't you quickly just go over why you think, Cam, that we're having this kind of issue with 500s?
Well, I know that five-handers usually don't have a lot of draw to them because they lack, more cards. But back in the day, characters could kind of make up for that with their ability to uh, just face tank things. They could just eat hits, use their health as a resource, and kind of not care. Like, what I think the last, aside from Mikasa and Recovery Girl, because Recovery Girl can gain so much health. We have seen Devil Jin. It's a lot of characters that can cheat their hand size. They can either draw, they have access to more cards, um, or they just have access to so much damage output, like Nomu from MHA. Nomu had a very strange damage reduction, changing damage to six, and he could give a whole lot of damage. Now, he couldn't draw cards, but he was still considered a good five-hander. Back in the pre-MHA days in retro, a lot of the five-handers were just these meaty health tanks that either had some damage reduction or just had this really crazy their own playstyle was kind of not caring about your playstyle. Whether that be trying to deny you resources or trying to draw a couple extra cards to make up for their fact or build other foundations or just have other ways of playing the game. It wasn't as straightforward. You really had to think outside the box for some of them. Um, but as I was looking at, pre MHA and or pre AOT, I will say, to post AOT, I will say that I noticed that pre AOT five handers, your average health was around 30 to 33, give or take. There were outliers like Byakuo. There were some like 34s or like 35s. You could get up to there above 33, but your averages were kind of around that sitting around that 30 to 33. Nowadays, it's about 30 to 35 or 33 to 35. Um so they didn't jump up that much. For five handers, let's push the buttons again. Thank you. They didn't jump up that much in terms of your base starting, and you only still have like that three. But whereas six handers pre AOT, you average between 26 and 30 health. And on average, you're sitting as a six hander between 27 and 28 health. That's what you could feasibly look at on average. But post AOT, your six handers can get up to 33, 32, 33 health. So you get this huge like 5 point jump, whereas five handers get like 1 or 2 point jump. And obviously, we've seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles four-hander that's a 40 health character. I think that's more going in line with the fact that all of their four-handers have been 40 health. But when you're seeing seven-handers go from 18 to 21 average to a 22 to 24 average, each set's getting like this 5 or 6 point health bump, but five-handers only get like a 2 to 3 health point bump. Again, with outliers like Aaron Usurper at 36 and Metalhead at 37. Um, I wonder, are they worried that the game would slow down too much if we had to deal with actual good characters that had really high health totals like this, that kind of want to play that mid-game grindy style of play?
No, that's a fair point, and I think slowing down the game a little bit has kind of been UVS's intention following AOT. We know they don't want games ending on turn 3, turn 4. They want them to go more towards turn 4, turn 5, turn 6. They want the games to actually have a little bit of meat to them, even though we still have like Godzillas that can and Devil Jins that can just wipe you out turn 2. They are the outliers now. They're not the standard. Games are kind of designed to go a little bit longer, and 500s do seem out of place now, especially that since you brought it up, Cam, in the fact that yeah, they haven't had the same health buff, and I don't know if it was yourself, Connor, if it was Mike or Steve that I had conversation with last year when we were seeing like the 600s coming in with the 34, 35 health. I was like, there was conversations going on like, what are the 500s going to have? And then we get a 500 with 36. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's just mildly disappointing. And it was it's understandable, but yeah, it's a weird point of diminishing return that we currently have with 500s where they need to be defensible, but they can't be a negative play experience. Nobody wants Caduceus to turn into the next recovery girl.
Yeah.
But welcome, Connor. I hope you had fun at locals. And yeah, feel free to chime in with your. I know you're a big 500 fan. You were the UK resident Nomu. So that's kind of like when we were talking about it, I was like, I need to see if Connor's free to come talk with. Because yeah, 500 is kind of. It was either you or Rocco because you're the 500 experts.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. They're in a weird spot now, like for sure. Like in the past, normally I was like a four-hander sliding into a five-hander. The idea of playing six-hand size characters was disgusting and wrong. Like it just wasn't for me. But they used to be so defensive, but you had to rely on that health total so much more than anyone else. Now you get that on six-handers, like I'll be looking at some of these characters, and I didn't realize how few there actually is that are five-handers, and I'm just like, yeah, they've all got Godzilla health, like,
Or less,
or less, yeah.
because
And
Godzilla's
I'm
a
like,
34.
yeah, that's like I never even clicked initially when I'm looking at Grog, going like, yeah, he has less health than Zilla, and has to do so many more hoops to get that 3 damage. Like,
Or Scanlan.
yeah,
For speed, he's a 33 health, less than Zilla. I think the only ones that beat Zilla are the Metalhead, Aaron, Mikasa. I mean, Caduceus is the same, but then you get like Kima, who has to add to her progressive difficulty
yeah,
basically to get any sort of damage. Um,
Is it though? Because
yeah,
your checks get +1.
yeah, but you still have to have a card to put in.
yeah,
Godzilla can just city rampage
Yeah.
and get +2, so you're still getting the +1, but you're also getting 1 speed and 1 damage.
yeah.
And
Like
then
it's
you just look at all these ones like Burt Hoover, Historia Reese, Beast Titan. They're all less than Godzilla health until you get down to like Bui.
Yeah, and you know something that's definitely more noticeable nowadays? The attack damage for the average attack must be floating close to 10 at this point. Like when I was playing, like when I started the game, you were throwing attacks at like maybe 5, 6 damage. Yeah, you occasionally threw out the extra one that was like, oh, it gets to 12 damage and stuff like that, and you're like, you're highballing. that's like the average string with a lot of the decks we see nowadays, where it's like I'm chucking out 40 plus damage in a turn, and you're like, right, five handers don't have the cards in hand to be able to build and defend that as well, and they can't now rely on their health total.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
why Nomu was such a big thing to deal with back in three,
Yeah,
4 years ago because, like you said, the attack's average damage was 3, 4, 5 at a push, and Nomu was like, "Cool, that's less than what I'm." At. But then you'd have your 1.3 million volts or your big attack come in, and Nomu just goes, "Cool, this is the one I need to use my ability on," and it's yeah, it's a big thing. And now Nomu now would be like, having to commit for everything and has even lost the ability to commit himself to get out of trouble, which is a big thing he had going for him. So yeah,
Yeah.
it seems to be that five handers are either trying to punish your opponent and bring them down to your hand size, like with Potemkin and Metalhead. They're trying to gain additional resources for being five handers, such as Erin for being Erin with the momentum, Caduceus with the healing, but even Caduceus and Mikasa and Grog all draw. Lady Kima gets
Yeah.
to just stack a lot of damage, but she only has two more health than Godzilla, and on average, unless you're playing an all five package, you're still only getting 3 damage. So you can't. It's like, why would I do all this when I could be playing Zilla? Scanlan gets
Yeah.
additional build, but when you then you get to like Bert and Historia, where they just get so much more draw power, but symbols are designed with discarding and this casino and this lack of loss of resources rewarding you, and discarding 2 cards to do it is huge. You get to draw more. That fire symbol on Bert was meant he was never a true five-hander unless you whiffed on the initial draw. And Hysteria just gets to go, cool, I win a lot of wall counters, and for my first turn, that is one of my five-hander. Out of that, I'm going to be a not a 500 anymore. This seems
Yeah.
to yeah. Whereas before, like you guys were saying, 500s before I'll go with were more along the lines of I'm going to survive or I'm going to punish you for not killing me. Now it seems to be a case of I'm going to have a gimmick, and if I can get my gimmick to pop off, I may be able to do something, but I need everything to go perfectly, and sometimes Zilla just Zillas, and you don't get to set up.
Yeah. Uh, I've noticed that in order for anyone to even consider a five-hander nowadays, they either have to have massive damage reduction slash massive health gain, i.e., recovery girl, or like a character like Grog, who can just -2 damage on everything. Or they have to have a way to draw a bunch, like Grog or Mikasa, to where they're not really five-handers at that point. And when you combine that with the resources they get on symbol, not even just on their face, one, it makes them not feel like five-handers, but two, it means that if a five-hander doesn't have a way to draw like 3 cards in a turn, or they only have that like 31 health, or I'm even looking at some of the ones in like League of Villains, Rikia Katsukame, he can technically gain health ish. He's a 27 health five-hander. Or
Hmm.
Yu Hojo's a 29 health five-hander. I will say Kuragiri, I understand why he's 28 because he's technically like a seven-hander. But like Muscular has 36 health as a five-hander. He doesn't have damage reduction. He doesn't have draw on face, but he can stack a whole crap ton of damage and he can reduce his defensive progressive difficulty. So he should be one of these types of characters that has greater health because he wants to tank that damage. Well, not only just for his character, but obviously, if he doesn't have access to the extra cards, he needs to rely on his health and just taking shots to the face. And at this point, 30, even 36 isn't enough where the game is right now aggressively.
Yeah, I was about to say
I
Connor
can
kind of brought this up already. Back in the day, Muscular was kind of floating around because you had to deal a lot of damage to get through. But now with Eren Usurper, Devil Jin, Godzilla, Pony. 36 is
Or
not a
even
lot.
characters like Deku,
Hmm.
who can do 36 in one attack,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah,
mean could just be a Deku problem, but it's still the fact that that is there
but it's a great point
is
because Muscular goes, "I need you to attack me," and Deku can sit there and go, "You know what? No, I'm just going to build to 20 foundations, block everything you're doing, make sure you get no counters, and then go here, catch for your life total with speed you cannot block."
Yeah.
yeah. It's it's just nuts. And again, as someone who when I started playing the game, uh the Street Fighter 30th edition was just getting ready to release. The first character I picked up from that was E Honda, the sumo dude, cuz one I loved spamming the palm strike in Street Fighter 2, but also he's kind of a mill deck, but he's also this character that's I'm going to sit here and I'm going to force you to deal with maybe one or two big attacks in a turn. And I'm going to play a little bit of defense. My kit has a little bit of DR, but for the most part, I'm keeping my attacks and stuff in hand so that I can play them on your turn. And I'm building whatever foundations I can so that I can pass those checks. And I'm just going to have to eat a bunch of hits. That's just who I am as a person. But a lot of those characters just can't survive in this meta anymore. And I wonder if the issue is how they're designing mainly the six handers, because it seems we have six hand characters with obviously the six hand size with five-hander character health, but seven-hander character aggression. Because you used to see seven-handers that were 720s like Tokoyami really popping off. They want to be fast, they want to get a good build on turn one, and they want to just run. You see characters like Donatello, who is, well, like a 723, so that doesn't really count. But Porco, well, he's also a 724. So imagine characters like Porco, but in the way back days when he only would have had like 19 health. Um, they want to be very fast, characters like Pony, who just blitz you down on turn two or turn three using a lot of that extra build that they get turn one. But we're seeing characters like Zilla build five on turn one and then nuke people from orbit on turn two because, well, Zilla has like the check boosting and all that, but also he's got the damage. He's got that kind of ability to go seven-hander aggression with the health of a five-hander so that he can eat some hits if he whiffs. And he's got that in between six-hand size to where he doesn't really have to worry about losing less cards.
But is that
And I'm seeing a
also
lot of that in six-handers right now.
but is that also a case for like the chaos symbol and the amount of free momentum that exists on it? Because it's not just about Zilla, because he has to run high check cards. But when you've got things like strategic meeting and determined advance that are just going, yeah, you before this you needed a turn set up. You don't need a turn set up. You can drop a strategic meeting, get your determined advance, and boom, you've got two momentum ready to go straight away. You pop the first one, you get to throw in your next attack. You pop the second one and go, and on average, you're hitting for say what nine. Say we can go on the low end and we've got a six, a five, and five. So we've got 9, 17, 25 from three attacks. That from a five-hander puts them in a very bad position if they've had a good build. And on a seven-hander,
Yeah.
if they haven't got the right block zone, they're just dead.
Yeah. So it's almost like they're designing six hand size to be almost like perfect in a way. Like that's where your average of you can basically play them however you want. But for seven handers, if you're not rushing people down on turn two and you whiff, you might as well just scoop because you don't have the health to survive. And five handers, don't play a five hander, I guess. And like I said, it sucks. I love that this game isn't a draw one per turn game. I love that we can draw up to our hand size. But when you have a lower hand size and you're supposed to have more health to kind of compensate for that, it feels like that health doesn't go as far anymore. And maybe it's just because they're leaning into more aggressive lines for like all of their sets. Like you can just, oh, any six hand size aggro character can just run through with all these new aggressive cards, but there's not a lot of defense being played.
No, it makes a lot of sense. What about you? Got any thoughts on that, Connor?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much follow along the same lines of that as such. Like, I think one of the biggest changes that happened was it felt as if like so damage of attacks was going up, and a way of compensating that was just to increase health totals without the full idea of we have other hand sizes. So it feels as if like five hands. Well, if we just make less of them, it's less of an issue. And then more people just play the six handers. You don't really look at a five hander unless you're trying to do some kind of almost like edge case to like picking a character, which feels like a wrong scenario to pick a character. Um, where you're like, okay, if I can jump through these three extra hoops, does this work and become like a thing? It's a tough one.
Yeah,
Yeah, because right now the only five hander I'm seeing topping is Devil Jin.
no,
Yeah.
And I think that's
Mikasa topped Atlanta, Louisville, one of them.
looking at Atlanta, I didn't see that. Let me check Toronto.
Well,
She's not
while
in
you just quickly check, I'm
Toronto.
going to thank Schwa218 for the 5 gifted subs, just putting 5 hand size problems. Really appreciate it. Uh, yeah, Godzilla. We got Dan saying that Godzilla and Younger to Go have the same kind of design problem. It was Should I say Louisville?
There's Louisville.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mikasa is an up and comer, and it does seem like some of the five handers are just waiting for like their power spike. But at the same time, sometimes
I will say in Louisville there was also a Zeke Yeager one,
ah
who is the five hand that transforms into a six hand,
yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
again becomes a six hander. And the only seven handers I'm seeing are Pony and Porco, I believe, going back to Louisville, all the way through from Louisville to Atlanta.
Pony's
Just
big
double
one.
check real quick.
Was the yeah, Pony topped Spain as well with Mike Hardiman.
Yeah.
April came very close though.
Oh, and Rodan.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Rodan
yeah.
won. Yeah, Rodan won.
Yeah, Rodan, Pony, and Porco are the only seven handers I'm seeing. And then, like I said, Zeke Yeager one and Devil Jin and Mikasa. And even then, Mikasa only topped Louisville. Zeke Yeager one topped Louisville and Atlanta. But again, he becomes a six hander eventually. And then the only other five hand size is Devil Jin. So it's like if you're not able to just cheat at the game in such a way that it doesn't matter that you're a five hander, it seems that there's no point in playing a five hander. And if you're not either going to rush your rival down on turn two like Pony, or can play defense out of this world like Rodan, there's no point in playing a seven hander. And it just feels like a very sloppy style of design when you do have these different hand sizes that you can explore. Uh, to just say, yeah, but middle of the road's always going to be better.
I mean, I'm gonna get your guys' opinion on this, but is it a UVS problem or is it a player problem that we're having here? Because if people in the community, people in Discord, if people watching our content just hear the same characters being represented over and over again, talking about Godzilla, talking about Rodan, talking about Pony, we're all like pushing the same decks. Why wouldn't the community go for that? And with attunement, are players not looking at the cool engine decks anymore because they're no longer locked in by the symbols they used to be, so they don't have to kind of make the same sacrifices they used to, where they can go, yeah, I can run Godzilla and I can play amazing attacks on all three symbols, or I can play Rodan and I can have access to Science Bros, even if I'm playing on Void and have all my control aspects, which means I can negate the thing that Void was known for of not having enough damage, because I now have access to air and the other aspects of Rodan that let them go. Yeah, I can now draw more. I can now get more damage while still having the void control cards sit there. I can seal, I can negate attacks. And it just goes, why not play more aggressive characters if you kind of tune in the control aspects of Symbol?
I think it could be a little bit of both, but I think that it's got to start with design because they made these characters this way for a reason. They decided that this is how they wanted these characters to go out, how they wanted these cards to go out. And I'm not saying like anything negative about the designers or the design teams or anything like that, but I am saying that there just seems to be like a focus on aggression and a lack of even consideration for a lot of defense to where almost every turn deck seems like it's going to try to kill you on two or even can accidentally kill you on two. Uh, and obviously if a character is good, they're going to play it. And I don't think that's even just us, hearing us talk about it because I've talked about characters that I think are really, really cool and have the potential to be good if they get work put into them. But some of these other, mainly six hand size characters, don't require that same level of work. They just plug and play.
I
Yeah.
think I'll direct this question at Connor because we have been very rude to our guests yet. Once again, not asking them
Don't
questions.
worry about
I did ask not to put me on a soapbox, and you keep putting me on a soapbox. So.
But is that not an issue with the game overall? That at the moment it feels like aggression is so simple. It's the Occam's razor. Everything can fit into aggression in this early aggro and this even the more aggressive kind of mid-range style. Whereas if I wanted to say play Bishop or Elder Toguro or any of these more control aspect characters, I'm now playing a game of I need to play perfectly and fully understand everything that's going on while you can just draw the nuts and kill me turn two, even if I've planned out perfectly. I think the closest thing we saw to a control deck that was prepared for everything and could control everything was Andrew Porat with Ghidorah back in Albuquerque. And he ended up taking that down, but he didn't take it easily. He had some amazing matches throughout there. And even like when I played against him with Reiner, it must have been so mentally taxing the way he was playing because he had to play every single game perfectly. And it might be just one of those things as a player. Do you want to go sit in that room for 6, 7, 8 rounds and be put under that pressure, be taxed that heavily on your cognitive processing? Or do you want to go down, throw orange cards, and if it doesn't work, you can drop and play side defense with your friends?
It's a bit of a tough one, isn't it? I mean, I think especially when it comes to like when you've got like a tournament level as well, right? The the whole point of a tournament is you want to win, right? So you're going to like design your deck with the most optimized strategy to get to that point of winning. So like when you're looking at a lot of these 5 hand characters and they're doing stuff, and then you go, oh, but there's a 6 hand size character that does something either similar or slightly better. And then you have to then start balancing all these numbers to such an exact point. The 5 hand guys are just doing stuff that 6 hand size guys do, but not really the same health that they should have. So, like, I mean, like, I was playing Bebop from Teenage Mutant today, and I was like, this is really cool. I'm clogging their pool, I'm building up my card pool, and by the time I get 3 cards in, I go, oh, I get 3 damage. Is there another character I could be playing that just says get 3 damage?
With three more
Yeah,
health.
with 3 more health. Like, do I need to jump through this kind of crazy loop to make that work? No, there's another character that just says just do that from attack 1, like rather than all of these other bells and whistles and making things work. Sometimes it looks fancy and it looks cool, and it's cool locally, but when it comes to a tournament scene, you just want raw information going through. You want that number putting them to 0 as
Yeah.
efficiently as possible. There's not really a massive scope for like imagination, really, when you think about it, especially a lot of the decks. you'll see a lot of people also basically just copy the same decks or have the similar ideas, and especially within the attuned world we're in the now, so many people's ideas just cross over so fast because we're all looking at the same things.
Yeah. I think one of the other issues, especially like for myself, is the lack of online play at the minute. Like back in my heyday, I'm gonna say, like when I was actually topping with Dabby and stuff,
Back
you
in my day.
I could jump onto the main Discord and I could get in regular practice with my decks. And at the minute, I've been trying to record gameplay content this week, and no one has been online when I've been available, and it's been really struggling. One of the best ways to improve it this game, one of the best ways to improve your deck and get it regionals ready, is to get regular reps in, and not with a 1 week locals limited webcam play. It can be quite daunting to try and get a niche deck, these pet decks, to the point where you feel confident taking them. Whereas most people can, well, most established players can throw a pony deck together and play it quite well off the start. It's the niche interactions to struggle with. Same with Godzilla, you go, cool, I throw attacks. If they don't die, then I try again next time. Whereas your Elder Togoros, your Caduceus, your Byakos, they take time, they take refinement, they take understanding. And even if they've got a more aggressive strategy, you still need to compensate with skill. And Marvin, I'm not saying that Pony isn't a non skilled character, because Richard would kill me for that. I just think the ceiling is a lot lower.
That makes sense.
Pony requires no skill. I've played it.
I mean, we saw it in Spain with Mike Hardiman, who had a hell of a run through Swiss and then got eliminated in the top 8 because a small child got to play Godzilla and got to see lots of attacks early and went, "Oh, cool, I check 5s and you die." It's like, yeah, cool. Yeah, that's how that goes.
Yeah.
Check 5s, take lives, as they
Exactly.
used to say.
The way the game was designed to be.
And honestly, I think that's it. We're now seeing these 6-handers with these damage playing Universus at where they kind of want it, but they're playing it too consistently. And despite UVS saying they want to make turns end on turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, the overabundance of resources, the overabundance of ways to manipulate your stage and your momentum and your hand and like your even your damage totals, makes it so that that kill turn keeps getting lowered down. And I've been singing it since before Roman Council was officially announced. Tension pushes Godzilla too far. I will happily play bad attacks in Godzilla that say you get 1 free momentum, because even like the one I previewed this week is a 5/7 that says my next attack gets +1/+1 and gives me a momentum. And so in Godzilla it says, cool, your next attack gets 1/4. Have fun with that.
And +2 to your next check.
Yeah, and +2 to your next check. Yeah, cool, let's go. And like, Soul Bad Guy is in a really good position. I think Soul Bad Guy is a great example of where this game should be, where you've got, when you get momentum, your next check to play a 5 card gets +1. Awesome. And then you've just got this utility of being able to, if you've got it, you've got it, but you don't, but you kind of have to have it. It isn't just translatable to every attack unless you're running a pure fire kind of aspect, if that makes sense. Because
Yep.
Soul Bad Guy, if for those who are unaware, is a 6 hand size, 32 health, which is really, really high, and just says your first attack gains tension, and then after one or more attacks added to your momentum, your next check to play a fire card gets +1. So defensively and offensively, your next checks get +1. And this is the kind of cool one where you could go, here's my determined advance, and boom, I now have a Roman cancel and a momentum. And if you block this, I'm going to be able to clear it, draw a card, using the Roman cancel, but at the same
And your
time,
next check is +2 if it's a fire attack.
and my next check gets put my next card. So you can also just
Yeah.
build it up to a big build. It's a very cool way to go. It doesn't have stats on face, so most people are going to overlook it, but it's a very cool card that has some symbols that have great draw power. So it might even be a fake six-hander, but it's just kind of going. I'm here for a long time. I'm throwing honest attacks, but I have very cool abilities that can pay off in the long run.
Yeah, that makes sense. And could it be that because of all of this extra resource gathering we have with like chaos having basically just printing momentum, a whole bunch of other symbols just getting like free draws? I know we've had a lot of like 1/5 foundations that flip draw a card. Does
Hmm.
that also invalidate five-handers because six-handers and seven-handers get them too?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's as many as there used to be. I mean, back in like Heroes Clash, where there was every symbol had at least one card that says draw a card on a flip. I think they have reduced the amount quite a lot. Or they have.
Well, that's true, but I am saying that because those cards exist for six and seven-handers,
Yeah.
what's the point of playing a five-hander? Because you could just be
Yeah.
a seven-hander that gets to draw two extra cards as opposed to a five-hander that gets to draw two extra cards.
Well, this is why
So
I'm.
it's almost as if you
Go on.
don't have draw on face. Sorry, mate, it's just not worth it.
But that's kind of where like I'm liking where Guilty Gear and Heroes of Exandria were, because if with these cards like plundering or treasure hunting, which is just a chaos card that says form, draw a card. If your opponent's got like half finalization, any chaos character can run that. But back before Attack on Titan, you had to be running chaos. So now,
Yeah.
if we had Devil Jin playing the way you want to now, he couldn't. If teaming up with the Attack Titan was non-attuned, they couldn't run it with the camouflage. And so basically, Devil Jin has then got to make a choice of going, do I want to loop this or do I want to be able to string out to this? And this is why I'm really hoping that we follow like the Heroes of Exandria line of ultra rares are unattuned and more thematic to cards, and we start seeing more like hybridization of it, because your choice of symbol should matter for the way your character plays. And Godzilla being able to now shift over to Earth and Water and get access to all these new unattuned five different attacks, but still be able to keep determined advance, horrifying realization, treasure hunting,
Finally free.
inspiring song.
Yeah.
All these six checks on there. It's like cool. I'm losing league interview. Doesn't matter. I've got a six check that makes me get +1 to my next check anyway. It's all good. It's the symbol don't seem to matter anymore, but hopefully, if we can follow this Guilty Gear line of like hybridization of symbols, we may see it coming a little bit more. I don't. This is a really hot and bad take. I don't agree that 2024 was a mistake and should just be scrapped. I don't think that at all.
Oh, I never would say that.
No, but at the same time, I feel very justified that a year ago I was calling for City Rampage and Godzilla to be touched, and that Azure wasn't the problem, and now everyone's kind of caught up to me.
I see no problem. Don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, it's one of those things, and especially with the way symbol identities are kind of shifting. It's a video I did not so long ago where in Attack on Titan, the mill symbol is fire, and then in TMNT, the mill symbol is all. And if we ever get a character that is all fire, that cares about self mill, they're going to be on fire with those attuned symbols. And
Yep.
it's kind of really weird, and it's very cool deck building wise, and it's very cool having the options when you're building the decks. But competitively, it feels weird because it's a case of uh as Andrew Holder put it when Walk the Dog and stuff came out, it's a case of if you're on symbol for it and you care about momentum, you need to explain to me why you're not running determined advance.
I don't own them and they're expensive.
That is fair. Uh yeah.
So here's a thought. If we were going to try to improve the base design of five-handers, do you think that bumping them from a base average of 35 33 to 35, which is where they're at now, where they kind of float around the 32 to 34, with 35 plus on the high end, would an average rating between 36 and 38 as like your base for health on a five-hander, do you think that would help them weather the storm more to where they could try to keep up and use their health as a resource in this kind of aggro meta to try to slow it down and make them a little bit more viable?
Five handers in this day and age should probably have 40 health.
I could see that.
It depends on the it depends on the abilities.
Obviously, but I'm just talking
Yeah.
like blank slate if
As
it's
a
just
baseline. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
if it's just the base, because
I
obviously
would,
you have characters like Recovery Girl who could survive with 30 health because she gains a bunch of health,
yeah.
or you have Grog who can do a lot of damage reduction. But I'm thinking of characters um like Fresh Cut Grass has 39 health. He doesn't heal. He sometimes gets a spell to his hand. Is that the kind of like weather the storm level of health? Do you think that's the kind of aid to survivability we could give five penders going forward, to where even if they didn't have a bunch of draw on face or a bunch of like DR on face, they could try to survive a little bit more?
Uh, well, the big thing is he's not even then he's still not seen play. And
Well,
he
yeah, because he.
Oh, I
I'm
played
talking
him
about
last
going
week,
forward.
but
I think
not
it's also because of like he doesn't have great abilities,
yeah.
he has
but
amazing abilities. What do you mean? He can play
if
the
someone's
the
pissing me
doublers
off across the
amazingly.
table, if someone's pissing me off across the table, I don't want to compliment them.
Oh, it's about the way you word the compliments. That's the thing. That you can't see.
Yeah,
You
but
can't.
here's the thing, Sean, whenever we were at regionals, and he was running the regionals, he said, "If your mother wouldn't approve, you're not allowed to say it." My
Yeah,
mother knows when I'm being sarcastic,
yeah, but
and she is not afraid to backhand me.
that's fine. But
So
there's nothing wrong with you saying you took the attack so well. You're such a good boy.
Yeah, there's nothing
ugh,
wrong with being like, you're less of a bastard than the last guy I played.
It's like, oh, look at you! You had such a good build
but
turn,
not
aren't
by
you?
much.
You had such a good build turn. I'm so proud of you.
I'm
Thank you for
glad you're
whiffing on
giving
that
me this
attack
one.
turn. Yeah, there's going to be a real fight eventually, and I'm not looking for that.
But no,
Oh,
But
if the higher health total mattered for base strength five handers, we'd see more fresh cut grass getting played. We'd see more metalhead getting played. I know Corin has got a very good metalhead out there, but even at its strongest, they're still just locals level decks. Now, if they have a gimmick, if they have utility that is meta relevant, and this is why I said it comes down to abilities. Byakugo. Byakugo sits there and goes, I'm going to deny you resources, flipping your foundations. And what if you let
oh,
me.
Byakko.
Yeah.
For a split second, the way you said, I thought you said Bakugo. I'm like,
No,
there isn't a
Byakko.
five-hander as
Byakko.
Bakugo.
Byakko. Because he's got two Ks, I call him Byakko Go. Because he's got two Ks.
Oh, well,
fair.
okay.
So, but in sort of like this looming threat of you're going to lose foundations. I'm going to get stronger because of this, and if the game goes on too long, I'm going to start stacking my deck. And we have a UK Byakko player who somehow, as a five-hander, always has at least one referee jury in hand. I don't know how he pulls that off, but is a very strong player. And probably the only reason you don't know about him is because he's got very unlucky when it comes to the second half of tournaments. He has stomped me out a few times, and it's just one of those things that again it comes down to you when you're playing 500s, when you're playing this delayed strategy, you need to play perfectly. Everything has to kind of fall into place. But where you're playing this, see orange, play orange, are you dead? No, call, I'll try again next turn. You are more in control of your luck, especially when you've got the big health totals. Godzilla being a 34 makes sense thematically, but in translating IPs to that kind of degree, do we lose something in the essence of the game? These colossal titans, these kaiju health totals, these colossal health totals, where we're seeing the six hundreds have these high health totals, and we were told, oh yeah, it's because they're titans, they need the health totals. And you got the original Mikasa and the original Levi still at 28. You're like, okay, yeah. And then we see everyone else kind of creeping up, like, wait, but those aren't titans, those aren't kaijus. Why have they got
Yeah,
this health total?
we had seven handers in the first Attack on Titan that were just one-off characters like Marco, who had 23 health as a seven-hander. Which, when the original Spike Spiegel from the two-player starter deck back in the retro days, when he was revealed to have 24 health, everyone lost their shit. Seven handers had never had more than 21 health, and he was a 24 health character that could give plus or minus speed and plus or minus damage, and everyone lost their collective shit.
Mm.
And now that character, who is very simple, seems like he's not good enough. A character that was almost game breaking back then is now just like, oh yeah, he'll just get like two shot by Godzilla.
Well, that's why you got to think of characters like Rodan or Erwin Smith from around this time last year, who were able to control Godzilla because they had access to these seal effects, these casino effects. They have access to ridiculous speed reduction. Even if you destroyed their foundations, they had more ways to build more back in, or they had ways to utilize it. They were able to take Godzilla's strength and use it against them or counter find the holes in the strategy, and that's why Mimic did so well last year. It's like, cool, you want to destroy my foundations? I don't need them. And then somehow Mimic got touched, but Godzilla got left alone.
Well,
It's,
Mimic plays a different kind of game.
but so does
Yeah.
Godzilla, and so does Rodan, and so does Devil Jin. They take the fundamentals of universes and they warp them around them. And when we see it with things like Mimic, and we see it with these other ones on there, they get touched, but because they're not. I'm trying to find the. My brain's got the point, but it can't put it into words. It's because they're warping the effects, but they're not warping the way the game is played. They're left alone. Whereas Mimic warped the way the game was played. It was able to utilize other aspects. It's mad to me that Hanj or Zeke hasn't been touched yet because they have very similar ways of doing things. But Recovery Girl got touched even into retro because of the negative play experience. But
Yeah.
but personally, I think new players have a lot of fun playing Godzilla. I think new players have a lot of fun playing
Well, yeah, you
Pony.
always have fun when you're winning.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's a case of do you as an onboard as a smaller game, as a game that's trying to grow, do you want people coming into streams or coming into events or coming into locals and seeing people sat there for 2 hours plus just going, play one pass? You'll make a mistake eventually. And they go, play one pass. No, you're going to make the mistake. Or do you want someone being like, okay, here's my 5 mid for 27. Can you stop it? Yeah, I can stop it. I've got this 0 mid block. I can block it. Cool. And you go, okay, I've got another one. Here's another 5 mid for 27. Like, you got me. Game two. It's like that kind of dynamic, like way that interaction between the players, although it's not as I want to say sophisticated, but I don't want to like seem insulting, but it's not as in depth as it used to be, where we were having to throw lots of these small attacks and there was a lot of more back and forth between players. Whereas now it's a case of play an attack, Response, any responses? No. Cool. Blitz, any response to blitz? No. Go to enhances? Cool. And then it's a case of, can you stop my attack? It it makes sense. It's a lot more appealing to spectators if they're watching these huge swings going back and forth against you. If they're seeing these games where Godzilla's on 2 health and their opponent's on 4, and they just go, yeah, bam, 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 you die. Whereas going back to the Andrew Porat kind of Albuquerque, I'm pretty sure everyone at the event had checked out of the finals by game 3 because it was Rodan versus Ghidorah and it was taking a very long time. So it was a case of people were kind of watching it and paying attention, but they were doing other stuff on there. They knew this game wasn't going to swing on turn 2. They knew it was going to be a long haul game. Whereas if you got Pony versus Devil Jin or Godzilla versus Devil Jin in the finals, you have to be watching it because the moment you look away, that's the turn someone dies.
Counterpoint.
Go for it.
Long matches can be appealing. And I think one problem that our game has when it does come to streaming, especially with newer players, it's hard to see everything on the table. And if you don't know what every single card in the game does, you're kind of going to struggle to know what's going on unless you're following the commentary. And even then, sometimes commentary misses things because there's just so much going on in our game at a given moment. Um, Story time. I play Master Duel on or Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel in my spare time because I have nostalgic feelings to the property. I had the most Yu-Gi-Oh! Game of Yu-Gi-Oh! In my goddamn life.
Did you get
Of just
Exodiad?
no, but it's like I play this. My opponent has a perfect counter. I counter your counter. Well, I have this, and just the back and forth was so freaking anime that I loved it. I loved all those little interactions, and I love that in this game too when it's more of a battle of wits. And you can ask any brand new player, they will love that they had I have answers. I can fight back. I can keep going. It's going to be a struggle, but it's going to feel like a fight instead of I got nuked from orbit on turn 2 because there was nothing I could do about it. That's not
Yeah.
fun for new players. They don't want to get the shit kicked out of them by some big lizard in a plastic suit.
Yeah. So for brand new players, players that have never played a TCG before, like 5% of who's actually looking at this game, that's who I'm on about there. For the 95% of new players, that doesn't seem to be where UVS are focused. If you look at the way their starter decks and stuff play out, you're right. If you've got any kind of TCG experience, and it's something that has been came up recently in another interview I've done with the Trading Post, this is kind of where the new player experience needs to go, targeting existing card game players, targeting the Magic players, the Yu-Gi-Oh players, looking for another game. Looking like you see so much content on Magic players being sick of how much product's being released and how taxing the game is and how expensive the game is. And it's like, come play our game. It's so affordable. It's so much
Sell your
fun.
magic stuff, buy a house, and then I'll send you a $50 deck for free.
Yeah, it's just,
Come on now.
I mean, it's something that
I
Pokemon's
I
doing.
love I love combating Magic players over which game is better because I'm like, I could get you to sell your house and pay off all your debts, and I'll still get you into this game cheaper than any other game on the market.
But
Let's go.
it's one of those things. If you look at Pokemon, you've got their very expensive collector's cards. You've got the cards that are worth thousands. But if you look at their current like competitive decks outside of a couple of outliers, they're about $80, about 50, 60 quid. That's really affordable. And I know Pokemon has its own issues, but that's the kind of thing. And I'll get to your point in a minute, Karen, on there. But yeah, we need to be appealing to more TCG players. We need to be going, cool. Yeah, this is how resource management works in this game. Look how cool it is. The fact you can just go to a Magic player and go, yeah, in our game, you draw up to your hand size. So you could be drawing 7 cards at the beginning of your turn. And like, the what? Excuse me? Because I know the 3 most powerful words in Magic the Gathering are draw a card. And if you go to your opponent, you're going to get to draw, you get to draw 6. Like, yeah, no, that sounds like a great deal.
I also love telling him these are our foundation cards. For us, there are lands, but the difference is ours do shit.
Yeah. It,
So,
it yeah.
I love talking to Magic players
There's a
about
lot of
universes.
transferable skills, and I really wish I knew more Magic players so I could actually do content around like getting Magic players' opinions on universes. And you bang on the money with when it comes to commentary. That our commentary is very difficult. I've been playing card games since I was a kid, and I had to learn by watching YouTube videos because I tried to watch My Hero commentary, and I couldn't keep up with the commentary because it was just, you know, telling me what they were doing, not explaining what was happening. But in between, people just talking about their interactions with players and stuff. I get that's now I'm an established player. That's a very cool commentary style. We get to know what's happening in the game. We get to know more about the players. But as a new player to the game, even with years of Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Keyforge experience, I this game took me a good like at least a month of research to actually figure out how to play with no one teaching me. And with someone teaching me, it would have been a lot quicker.
Not me when I was starting. I taught myself how to play, and I taught myself how to cheat real good because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I bought a starter deck and a booster box, and I was like, "Well, surely I can figure this out. It's a card game. I've been playing card games most of my life." I will say I struggled, and if I didn't have Shane Duckworth on basically speed dial on Facebook, God bless that man. He answered at least two questions every day for 2 months. Uh, yeah, I was able to get my head around it, but I didn't know back then they weren't streaming matches. I don't believe at their the championships or anything like that. But because I learned by doing and I learned by reading, I don't think streaming would have helped me learn. I can't think of anyone who would learn via stream. Again, mainly
It's
because you can't quite see what every card is, so you can't know what's going on, and that's just a basics of maybe this game isn't the best for streaming just because we have a lot going on. It's not like Magic where it's like, "Oh, these are the lands. There's just a bunch of red blank cards because this person's playing red." So you don't have to worry about it.
do you know
There
what?
is so many moving parts in our
Do you
game.
know where the perfect time to put that stuff would be? Between rounds. Explanations, like foundations, how to
Oh, okay.
play.
Like a
right,
play
yeah.
like a
Yeah.
do a replay and be like,
Not
"Oh,
even,
this
Yeah,
could be
a
not even like a
recap.
replay, just like, like when they've got the next round coming kind of thing, just like, oh,
just have
I
them talking about the game or the match."
it could even just be something that's pre-recorded, just like, okay, like Levi's learned to play video he did last year. Just, yeah, this is how you play Universus. Are you struggling to keep up the stream? Well, Let me talk to you about what's happening in these games. If you're interested in Universus, put up the QR code. Go. You can find out how to play here. But here's the basics, and I think
Yeah.
that'd be very cool. But we are getting distracted, so let's go. Let's get back on topic with Corin asking our thoughts on Nick Reagan in the 500 discussion. And I think essentially Nick Reagan falls under the Devil Jin kind of aspects. He's a true 500, but he warps the way the game plays. He plays a very fair game in terms of like the fundamentals of universes, but when he plays an attack, being able to stack other abilities onto that attack, being able to go, yeah, I'm going to push this attack further and give attacks abilities they never should have had, is a fundamental warping of the game. Being able to get a world's weakest hunter and be able to go, cool. Now I'm going to give you speed and damage equal to the amount of foundations we both have. It's like, yeah, no, okay. I'll be able to go, yeah, I've got a true 100% power, and I milled a true 100% power, so I'm going to double up.
Yeah, turning one in attack into two is definitely a fundamental way to exploit the game, making up for that. So I guess I could transfer into another question of do five handers going forward need to have game or idea warping exploits that they can do in order to keep up, especially if we're not going to bump their health to like the 40-ish area in order to keep up with this kind of six hand size aggro meta that we've got going on.
What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, kind of I mean, I think that then becomes like that kind of like harsh reality of like how did they design it, doesn't it? Because like if you bump up the health, you probably don't need to have them warping the game style as such. But if you keep them at the health they're at, they really just need to be doing excess on what they're already doing. Like, I mean, like Nick Reagan's like one of those characters where it's like he's a five hander, but he filters through the deck as if he's a seven hander.
Yeah.
So like he's kind of in that category where he's like warping the game around, just hitting you with stuff that you shouldn't really be able to get hit with and effects that shouldn't really be coming into play. So like he's doing that. It's kind of covers. I mean, he can still be a five hander and hit the five hander problems where you just hit nothing. Can happen, but once you hit one attack, you're filtering through enough of the deck where you're seeing something 9 out of 10 times.
Here's a question for you both. We see as you both old heads and have a lot more experience with this subject than I have. You mentioned before, Cameron, that one of the big draws for five handers back in the day was attacking in your opponent's turn, putting pressure on the resources. If we see more of these drive attacks that allow you to attack in your opponent's turn, could that be a kind of boon to the five handers?
No,
Yeah, also though.
because you didn't with five handers. You didn't really see a lot of reversals because you had to have the card in hand to block with and the reversal. So that's two out of your five cards. Unless you're one of these five handers like Mikasa that's drawing a bunch, it's kind of like why you don't see a lot of actions in five handers because you need every card you draw to do something or to count for something. So if you draw like a city rampage, sure, that's a really good card. But if you only have one attack because the other three you drew were gray and you don't have a lot of draw, that's really not doing you a whole lot. Uh, but for five handers, like way back in the day when the power level of attacks was lower, like Connor said, you were only eating maybe 6 to 8 damage on the high end because there was so much interaction of damage reduction, speed reduction, stuff like that. Uh, you were basically just saying, "Hey, my way of playing the game is I'm going to attack you, I'm going to build, I'm just going to let you throw everything in the kitchen sink at me. I'm going to face tank it, I'm going to draw, and I'm just going to play. I'm only going to worry about my turn basically, and I'm going to use my board to mitigate the damage I'm going to take, but I don't have to worry about blocking as much because I've got this fat ass that you got to chew through." And that was a pretty solid way to play. Granted, I played the game wrong and I played seven handers like that, but I'm also a psychopath, so you can't quite put a lot of stock into that. But that felt like how five handers were designed, especially back when we had designing for character kits. A lot of five handers, their kit, a lot of their foundation base would be damage reduction so that they could soak more attacks in, or they'd play more throws so they could guarantee get some momentum so they could fire off some more powerful abilities.
Yeah. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, on the same line. I mean, it's one of those scenarios where like I'm looking at like some of the five handers that now, and like the first one jumped out at me was like Stone Man, and it's just
Stone Man
like,
was dumb.
yeah, he's a silly man. He shouldn't
Yeah.
exist.
So yeah, Stone Man I was gonna keep out of the discussion because he was kind of on the rise
He was
closer
on
to
the upper
MHA where it's like
echelon.
we're gonna tone this down a little
Yeah,
bit.
he's like a scary one. I think and it was like one of those things where it's like they all do a little bit of something different, even down to like Drill Man, who was like, right, well, I'm a five hander, but I can fake a card into play, so you're not having to suffer of the bad check scenario as a five hander. Like they all just did something different. Johnny was only 30 health. He was damage reduction and then building stuff. Like he was basically a
And
recovery
Johnny's
girl.
big thing was he could play cards that you weren't technically allowed to
Yeah,
play in
allowed
your
to
deck
play.
with the symbol, but that's beside the point. But even look
Yeah.
at a five hander that I actually did well in an online regional with, fourth kind. He
Yep.
cheats progressive difficulty on his fourth card, gives a bit of damage buff, but then he doesn't really have anything defensive. So you build your foundation base to kind of soak up that damage. And I'm only going to focus on my turn as that's where my focus is going to be. And then defense, I just have to make sure you don't kill me. I don't have to put too much into blocking, or that if I can just soak some damage here and there, do some damage reduction, and then my turns where the gas really comes in, that's kind of like the last five-hander I can think of that was really good like that.
Cementos?
That did that's another fake five-hander
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
he
but
increases
you
his
had
hand
to get
size.
set up to do it, kind of thing. So you were able to interact with it. But again, even fourth kind and Cementos, so that towards the end of MHA2, they didn't see play.
That's because we were getting more power ramp to where
Yes.
they didn't matter. They were just getting blown out of the water too quickly because of how fast the pace of the game was going. But I will say in Vegas, I went to a Vegas regional where one of the Tulsa locals was playing Kuragiri a lot, and I convinced him to play Cementos, um, just for fun. And I'll tell you the look of joy on this man's face when he realized he didn't have cards in his hand, and he's like, "Oh, I just played all my cards," and his opponent hit him for 6, and he looks at that 31 health and he goes, "Oh my god, I don't have to block." The look of pure joy on that man's face of, I don't have to worry about every attack coming in to kill me. But sometimes it feels like even six-handers nowadays have old seven-hand size health because of just how aggressive this high level of, like, six-hand size aggro can be.
Yeah,
Like
that
Tetsu. He's pretty cool because he can zero out, or if you have 0 cards in your hand, once per turn, turn an attack's damage to 1. That's pretty cool. And he can kind of fake his hand size by picking up foundations, but I don't know, it just feels like you have to be playing the game in a different way or warping it in some way to be even sort of viable as a five-hander.
yeah, and that's kind of
Yeah.
the issue. There's a point of diminishing return where, as Connor said when he first joined, it used to be back before AOT, back in 2022, 2023, when the games went longer. They went too long. But I think we can all agree, especially like after 2023 Nats, where in the UK we had quarterfinal games taking like 3 hours. It was kind of
There
Again,
was
I
one there
think
was
printing
there
more
was one
deadlock.
nationals. There was one nationals where all the Scottish people are watching Murray play the game, and then like I think he was playing against Mike, and like the game goes into like 2 hours, and everyone's like, "It's midnight. It's midnight, guys. I'm away at McDonald's somewhere. Phone is when you finish. We'll still be there probably." And then
yeah,
like still like 2 hours later, we get a phone call being like, "Oh, game's finished." Like, and you're like, "You were playing for like 5 hours."
yeah. And
Like,
there's been American ones where they
Again,
had
print more deadlock, we'll be fine.
wasn't there an American one where they went beyond what the venue could allow, so they had to like pack up and play in a Waffle House. And as fun as it is when you're playing that game, nobody's gonna watch those games. No, it's not a selling point for the game. And I can I do get very caught up thinking of it from like a corporate kind of bringing new player thing in. I do need to focus more on what I'd enjoy as a player, because I mean, I was one of the people in 2023 Nats that was playing the Midnight Void. I'm here for a very long time decks, because we were stringing out against each other. We are doing all the stuff on that, but you do have to worry now about every attacker killing you. I think every single player, when they're playing the characters, has a number in their head that goes, okay, if this attack's damage gets above this number, I need to consider blocking it or dealing with it on, handling this threat. And when you've got characters like Devil Jin and Godzilla that just goes, cool, every single attack is above that number. And yeah, so now I'm going to have the perfect block zones. I'm going to be able to watch my opponent, predict what my opponent's going to be doing, so I know how to block. And you kind of sit there going, it sucks as a feeling, but a lot of time at the minute you're sat there just going, I hope you fucking brick, rather than going, yeah, throw some attacks at me, let's have some fun, let's go some back and forth. Like, now just fucking brick. Have a hand of grey, all of one attack zone, and let me draw the exact opposite attack zone to what you've got in your hand.
It is a bad feeling, but there are definitely some of these, especially like a pony, where they're drawing through half their deck in one turn. It's just like just suck it. Just one draw cycle in a row, and just let me absolutely like check your draw gray, check orange. Just let me have one more turn to see if I can turn this around. But like I said, I played what's his name, Jamie in Louisville,
Hmm.
and let me tell you, as a seven hand size, 22 health character, I made sure that my deck was kitted out to not only change attack zones, but change block zones because I knew how heavy a defense I had to play. And I think it helped because a lot of people were expecting me to play aggro Jamie because as a seven hand size, you can just rush people down. But I played so much defense. And yeah, especially against characters like Bakugo 4 or Pony, where I was like, I just gotta hope. I just gotta hope that I draw better on defense than they do on offense,
Yeah.
or this is a non-game. And I would much rather have my games be a knockdown, drag out, back and forth of interactions than feel like why did I even sit down? Because I mean, I'm over in 10 minutes because well, you won the dice roll and I lost on turn two, games one and three.
Yeah.
It feels bad when you have more non-games than when you have these just real down to the wire nail biters kind of games.
There's another character that's just become legal in Fern Calloway who gets to warp the way the game gets played and is only going to get stronger with Guilty Gear. Is going to get a lot stronger with Fairy Tale because she just gets to go, cool, this is a fire attack. This is a spell, gets 2 damage. Is it a fire? Does it have the fire symbol? Cool, it gets 1 speed. It's not Godzilla numbers, but when you've got things like Mighty Blitz and Webergaster Flames, the the cat claw throw that gets to uh, Spell Storm, which kind of relies on, and then he goes, cool.
Big freaking explosion.
Yeah.
BFE can get to ridiculous numbers because she's milling, utilizing Little Mister. So whenever you use a powerful ability, you can essentially double up if you just use it once. And then if she hits, if you don't block it, if you got my health as a resource, I'm gonna take this 2-3 damage. She gets to go, cool. I'm gonna mill two, and if I hit a spell, I get to unflip one of my foundations. Is this limited? No, fuck you. I'm just gonna keep doing it. And
By the way, big freaking explosion. I know in Critical Role it had a different name. What was that name?
Fluffernutter.
Fluffernutter. Okay, I'm just gonna guess at the spelling on that. I have a Jester video coming up next week, so
Yeah, it's not just as like explosive barrel. They call it the Fluffernutter. It very rarely works, but
it's okay. It
it's
very rarely came up in my deck. So
that's why but it's also very thematic because it does deal damage to the Mighty Nine themselves, which is why it has that backlash ability. But a Fern just being able to go like I've got videos up of me doing it and be able to go cool. I'm gonna flip short lived promotion. I'm gonna put my hand size up to 7. I'm gonna throw these attacks. One hits your quarter mill, two get a spell. I'll unflip short living promotion. I'm gonna go cool. I'm now consistently a 7-hander. What are you gonna do about it? I think I got up to like a consistent 8-hander because I also had Reenie down, and it's just there's so many ways to warp the game at the minute from characters to foundations that it kind of just doesn't. You're running the best as it is, and when I was learning the game, when I was trying to get like better at the game, I was told damage wins games, but speed wins matches, and it doesn't seem to be that way anymore. It seems to be damage is king, unless you're a control player where everything falls into place.
yeah,
I mean,
which is why you have characters like Elder Toguro who can swap them.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then you've also got people like Phil Birch, who is able to get ridiculous amount of reps in, is able to get the meta matchups, know how the game plays, and knowledge of how to deal with the meta characters is huge. And we saw Control Rodan take down every single meta threat out there. showing that Rodan is still a massive issue and is able to have lots of control aspects to it, and it's very cool. But that Rodan didn't win that regional. Phil Birch with Rodan won that regional. But if we look at Spain, not to take away from the player's skill, Godzilla won that regional. The player played well, but
Wait,
the
what? Godzilla didn't win that regional.
Godzilla won Spain. Was it? Oh, was it?
No,
Oh,
it was Midoriya.
was it? Oh no, it's
Yeah, it was
Midoriya.
Midoriya.
No, sorry.
I was like, wait, did the Godzilla win?
No, no. Calvin won Godzilla in was it
Yeah.
Toronto? Yeah. But then again,
Uh,
Midori as well. Midoriya's just busted ability to warp the game and like go. Yeah, I'm gonna start just doing stuff, basically turning the game into Yu-Gi-Oh! This solitaire thing of I'm just gonna start committing foundations, and there's literally nothing you can do about it because you can't interact with a farm ability.
Unless you're like a Heroes Uprising
Yeah,
character and you get really lucky that they don't have an action cancel.
yeah. Well, Hero's upbringing is going to be very strong, but it only has what till March 13th to still be relevant, and then it disappears.
Yeah.
Yep.
So would you say that maybe the design, how do I word this?
Yeah, that's the issue.
Because I know there's always I know there's always going to be meta characters, like good characters, meta decks. But should design focus more on allowing the cream to rise to the top in terms of player or just in terms of the character designs? Like design some characters obviously better than others, like we've seen chaff characters like Marco or Jean Kirstein or sorry, Brodenkind and Connie, where it's like, yeah, these obviously weren't designed with the same care as like a Zeke Yeager War Chief or a Hanj Zoe 1, where they were not given the same, like they didn't even have the same starting line. Um, or should we put everything kind of at the same starting line and let the players, like the deck and the matchups, be sorted out? Kind of like how you said Rodan didn't win, but Phil Birch did. Should we
hmm.
focus more on like maybe kind of that, like focusing instead of just hey, here's Godzilla. He's obviously going to just stand above the rest because he does everything.
So like, there's a kind of weird scenario where like it still has to be on the design front, right? Because if you design all the characters the same way, there is still inherently going to be better players. So you're still not actually at the same starting line. If ever like it's like if I play Rodan and Phil plays Rodan, I know who I'm putting my money on winning more matches with them, and it's not me for once.
Yeah.
But like, but if you design some of these characters with a little bit more, I'm going to say consistency, pinch of salt. Like it feels as if like there's just some inconsistencies with how some of them are designed, where some feel as if they're meant to be too fun, but then fun in this game sometimes sucks when you're not playing against people who go in with the same mentality. Like if I
Yeah.
go like, oh, I'm going to play, say, oh, I'm going to play Caduceus. Let's have a fun game. We're playing some backups, and then all I play is like just board wipes and Zillas and road. Yeah, that's you're going to put people off more than you keep them in the
Yeah.
game.
I mean, I've got an
Like,
hour-long video I'm not ever going to publish of me playing Bishop, my opponent playing Caduceus, and we just sit there because he can't get attacks to land, and I just end up milling myself out.
oh,
It was funny, but it wasn't fun. I'm gonna come in with a semi hot take. Risk
That's
needs
what the
to
people are here for.
the risk needs to equal reward. With Godzilla, the risk of running 5 checks is isn't as high as the reward you get for what you get for playing those 5 checks, especially with the resources we have. If we equate this to what I'm going to say is a similar character in the veins of what it's looking to do, Jiro back in MHA1 up until rotation was a stringer, was someone that came at you with these high impact, high damage attacks, high speed, was more of a threat than Godzilla when they were able to pop off very early, but very rarely won regionals because they had to put more risk in the deck. They had the two checks, but they also had to run these. Ooh, sorry, I just hit my mic. Sorry about that. They had to run these high difficulty foundations. They had to put more risk into the deck, and they could get turns where they only built one or two foundations. Whereas in Godzilla, you can build your deck where you can consistently build three or four as long as you see them, and it's not your reward is so much higher for so much little risk. Whereas with Jiro, the risk reward felt right. You got the win, but you had to play really well, and you had to manage reward the risk reward the point of diminishing turn really well. With Eren Usurper, Misaka, Devil Jin, you don't. It's a case of cool. I've got an attack. Cool. I can add camo camouflage into my card pool, and if this hits, I can draw it, so I can keep stringing. I can keep putting more damage. I can keep getting. It's like, oh yeah, cool. So the risk of you checking attacks is better for you, and the reward that you get for this risk is more damage and ways to warp the game. Same like Mikasa's flat. Oh, you've got two cards that are the same in your hand that you can't really utilize. That's fine. You can just get more speed. It's absolutely fine. You can utilize it very well. It's the point of diminishing return for six handers has dropped ridiculously. It has stayed the same for five handers, and I think that's what we're here. That's what we're feeling is five handers feel MHA power level, and six handers and seven handers have gone
Progressed.
beyond. Yeah, I've gone beyond the limits now. They've increased in power.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I was just thinking about if you introduced Jiro or 1.3 million volts or Frigid Heat Wave into today's meta, they wouldn't be seen as the staples or the strong characters the strong cards that they were back then. They still are in spotlight, but
They reintroduced 1.5 million
yeah,
volts
but they put
problems.
a
They gave it
two.
a two check
Yeah,
now.
that's just
Oh
it.
yeah.
See? They put a two. They
But
put a
again,
two.
that goes to your adding the risk to the reward.
Yeah,
So in some ways, does it feel like maybe they've dumbed down some character designs to make them simpler, but in that simplicity, they've allowed them a broader range of consistency that just kind of makes it easy to press the unga bunga button.
I'll let Connor answer this first because I've
Yeah,
got something I've been saying a while.
a
Sorry.
wee bit, a wee bit to an extent. I mean, I think it is. It's like some characters are just so simple. Like Cameron, you had like Mega Mutant and stuff like that for reveal, and it's like, but that guy just does the silly numbers and has the most simplest of outs to do that such a thing. Like, and you don't see that with five handers as much, like without having to push three or four different buttons. I think also sometimes as well, especially in the attuned era we're in now as well, is with people getting the same access to cards, they don't feel the same either. It's a kind of tough one. It's like if I put in like finally three and a five hander to get that momentum, it doesn't feel the same as I'll always jump back to Zilla as an easy one, but like it doesn't feel the same as making a momentum in a Zilla deck and stuff like that. And I think a lot of these decks are starting to kind of like show that scenario where they're too similar, but you want that optimization to be like I mean, at the end of the day, the end goal is the exact same. Everyone wants your life total down to zero. How you do it is here nor there, as long as you get there.
No, I'll say the exact same thing I said when Grog was revealed. It's a simple case of characters that are designed with a simple not mentality, but simple game style of I'll take less damage, I'll turn that damage into counters, and those counters will become more damage and draw power for me. Are dangerous. And the more you simplify character, the more you get to go again, default example of Zilla going, if you have momentum, you get to string out longer. and then giving us it then has the Jiro issue of they should be warping design. We didn't get very strong weapon charge cards for a very long time because Jiro would abuse them. But we're still seeing more and more cards that go, here's momentum. And now we have an entire set that goes, here's momentum. And these characters that 2, 3 years ago would have warped design, would have got design going, we can't print this because this character becomes too hard to handle. Now just go, yeah, we'll do it. We'll see if these characters do become issues, and we'll touch them if we have to. These
Will they though?
yeah, well that's it. These very simple characters, these very linear ways to play the game are great for people picking up the game, are great for people to have fun with, but put them in the hands of Tim Keefe, Kevin Broberg, Mike Hardiman, Grant Padley, Liam Charner, Connor, Mike Murray, if he ever plays the game outside of in the UK, they become nukes because these are very strong players. These are very good players that can understand the interactions of cards and can understand the resource management on a level that new, intermediate, or even some good players do not see, and they get to push it even further. Mob, Mob Strike. Mob Strike was banned. It was not very good in
For
its day. It was not
good
very good in
reason.
retro. It was banned because created this unfair play experience. And now we have cards coming in that say, draw all these cards, get all this momentum, get all this damage, get all this speed, reduce all this speed on the symbols for the characters that are killing you. So you go, cool. If I don't kill you, all I need is 2 cards to block you with because all my foundations basically say minus damage, minus speed, draw cards because my character and my attacks do everything. And I'm being very hypocritical here because that's how I designed Dabby. That is how I played back in Heroes Clash Crimson Rampage. My thing was all my attacks are getting +3 damage. One of them's getting 8 damage in throw, and I'm just going to keep applying pressure to you break. And it worked, and that's why I like playing Godzilla. That's why I like playing younger Toguro, because they were just better versions of Dabby, and that's a really weird thing to say because Dabby was a very linear character. Dabby was very cool, but I was the only person that ever really pushed it like because you had to be able to string. And now we're in this kind of play space where stringing isn't an issue because we have so much filtering, so much looting, so much card draw that the 6-hander problems that we used to like coin aren't that big of an issue anymore. They haven't really been since League of Villains about time.
Thereabouts. I'd say still more around like the AOT era, because I do think bumping the health for the 6-handers, giving them 5-hand health, hand size, but with like 7-hander aggression, really created this perfect storm of this is kind of just where we're at,
Yeah.
and I don't quite know how we get ourselves out of it right now.
So here's a question I'll pose to you guys. Is the issue in the symbols that have been printed in the last year? So with AOT, we saw no void, we saw no evil, we saw none of our control symbols. Heroes of Exandria comes around, we get void, but it's not as defensive as it was. It's more a denial resource in there. It takes away your opponent's resources, it seals their attacks. It doesn't drop the attacks anymore. It doesn't have like your decoy duplicates, your condescending explanations, your broken psyches, and just go, this stops your attack. It's more, oh, this seals your attack, or this seals your board, or this, it stops you doing more stuff. It doesn't just go, get this attack out of my face. And then we get to TMNT, where we get evil back and we start getting these check hacks and so that. But by that point, after a year of no real support, while the aggression grew and grew and grew, is it not enough?
100%.
Yeah, I would agree that
Yeah.
I don't mind them splitting up symbols, but I do feel like if you're gonna have like if they went back to 4 sets a year, I would say that each symbol should be in 2 sets,
Yeah.
like, just to keep the game alive a little bit more like that. Because back in the retro days, I played a lot of decks on evil because I love check hacking. That was how I controlled the game so that I could survive more. Good had a lot of like defensive foundations and stuff that could reset damage or help you build so that you could, survive more. But with chaos and order being in everything but TMNT since AOT, and good and evil only being in AOT, or only being in
TBT.
TMNT
Yeah.
since AOT. And we don't even get we lose uh like losing death and life in TMNT I think was a good idea because we've had AOT and critical role. But losing good and evil again for guilty gear, that really hurts. And
And
I think that that's leaving some options off the table for how to handle some of these aggressive decks. Like check hacking for the evil symbol could definitely halt some of these string decks like a pony or a devil Jin because they can only do that check boost thing once. So you can kind of balance that out if you have a lot of foundations on good that are like, oh, we're gonna tamp down your aggression in terms of like how much damage you're about to do. If we give void back more of like, oh, we can seal your attacks, we can seal your foundations, we can abort attacks. We're not getting a lot of that
No.
to, like you said, keep up with the aggression that they've just been pushing, especially with the design of the three AOT sets. If we got back down to where it looks like maybe the Guilty Gear design is, even the TMNT design or like the Critical Role design, sure. But the fact that we have these things that have been pushed so far to the aggressive extreme, it feels like we're going to be playing catch up for a while.
yeah, and do you know what's even scarier? We're really close to rotation,
Yeah.
and we're going to lose ungodly amounts of everything that's not on just Attack on Titan six
That that's
symbols.
what that's what the next part I was going to bring. Yeah, Dan's put in the chat that Potemkin and Metalhead are good void characters because they bring your opponent down a hand size. But do characters like Godzilla and stuff like that care? It's not a random discard; they get to choose and how much draw that exists. They don't really. It can be
I
impactful,
think
but
if it was, go ahead.
yeah, it can be impactful. But just to piggyback on what Connor said right there, yeah, in what 4 months we lose, well, 5 months we lose Vile Seizing Showdown, Heroes Uprising, Rejuvenating Smash. We lose a lot of the staples that are in there, and yeah, and the big ones like Godzilla loses Blue Flame Torment. I don't know that many Godzillas that are still playing Blue Flame Torment. Whereas
My local.
Devil Jin goes, oh, I lost League Interview. Oh, well, I'm sure there's other Chaos, Fire, Evil cards that let me mill. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Whereas the control players go, oh, cool, I lost Hero's Upbringing, where that allowed me to steal my opponent's character. There's my answer to Godzilla, Pony, Devil Jin,
Deku.
Deku. I lost Vile Seizing, so I don't get to do breaking stuff. I lost Showdown, so I don't get to stop my opponent's actions. So commit down there to foundations I was worried about. And it's like,
Or twisty surroundings, being able to control the block zone,
yeah.
the attack zone of
Yep.
your attack, so I can block and I get to hack your check. Again, trying to tamper down on those aggressive attacks.
Azuku does lose Phantom Threat, though. That's a huge one.
Woo, he gets wingnet
Yeah.
sabotage.
Yeah.
He's getting that now.
Oodalali.
Yeah.
Just
That's
one
that.
card.
But yeah, that's kind of the thing is control is about to lose a load, whereas
But aggro isn't.
what you exactly said there was It's kind of the Jerry Clarkson thing of, oh no, anyway, I'll just slide this attack into its place. Oh no, I lost the
Yeah.
Phantom Threat. Oh well, if only there was X amount of attuned attacks on these symbols that I can throw in that will replace
Any
it.
given flash
Yeah.
attack.
Yeah.
And who knows what he's going to get in Godzilla when we're going to be getting these kaiju attacks. Because, yeah,
It's gonna be good.
I'm hoping that we're going to see a rise back of control with Destroyer and Ghidorah and Rodan, and hopefully we're going to see good and evil back in there. But yeah, it just kind of hit me there, like the symbols of support, of control, the symbols of defense haven't had the support in a long time. And when I was in Albuquerque with Sam Tate, he was talking about the fact that he made the joust format to showcase the strength of defense and what defense exists in this game. But the joust format lets you selectively pick cards and know what's going to happen, so you can build this perfect defensive turn. And he still, and because of that, he's had to dial back the defensive options. I think it went from a hand size to half a hand size to just one card now. Because when you get to choose, when you get to pick your defense in this game, you can be defensive. But when you're having to rely on the goddess of RNG, sometimes she just doesn't smile on you and you get completely destroyed. And it can happen in aggro. But in aggro, if you don't see your aggression, you do a little build and you wait. If you don't see your defense, you die.
Yeah, I guess I'll just
Yeah.
die.
Yeah, I guess I'll just die. And yeah, I hadn't even thought about the fact that we had the symbols hadn't had support, because it's not something people are talking about at the minute. People are more focusing on world points and like the characters that need touching. But yeah,
Yeah, because the main, at least going back to pre MHA, the main defensive symbols were like Earth, Good, Evil, and Void. And guess what? We didn't get for any attack on Titan.
yeah,
Yep.
Oh, and you also had Life, but Life was also like defensive by way of gaining health,
which we
not
got.
so much like messing with speed
Yeah.
or ripping hand size and stuff like that. So yeah, not seeing almost any defensive symbol play outside of air controlling speed. Yeah, it's kind of no way that we or no surprise that we went down this incredible aggro rabbit hole. Excuse me, I
Yeah,
can't talk right
nice.
now.
But I mean, yeah, looking at like the defensive denial that we're losing, things like decoy duplicate that says you lose this attack and you draw a card. It's like, yeah, you may draw another attack, but also you may not. Broken Psyche that gets to go. Your attack now just has 2 damage. Deal with it. It's great against Zilla, who doesn't really run attack pumping in the deck because he doesn't need it. It's all on face.
Yeah,
And then these were low cost control aspects because they cost you momentum. That's fine, but now a lot of the stuff we have is a lot more conditional. We have cape of return. That's fine, but if you're not running asset hate in your deck these days, you're not playing the game right, because assets are a massive issue.
because Mimic is still a character.
Not even just because Mimic, because Mega Mutant Machine exists.
Oh yeah, you mean that
Yeah.
card I made an entire video about, and
Yeah.
everyone shouted me down saying that no, it's not that bad.
Oh no! You see, I've
Guess who
discovered
feels
that
validated now?
people shout you down because they don't want it to get touched because they want to play it. I've discovered this.
I,
Whenever,
I will say, I got the most backhanded compliment from Kevin Broberg on that video. So if you haven't seen my is Pumat a Soul a Problem video, go check that out just for Kevin's comment. Just go down, read the comment, leave. I still get your view count. It's fine. But because of that, I built a Pumat that runs both Mega Mutant Machine and Nine Titans, because I've complained about that card too. And let me tell you, the level of negative play experience that my locals now associate with Pumat Sol is absolutely hilarious. It is ridiculous.
But then that's
Mm.
also the kind of strategy
And it
that
runs Rampage. And it runs City Rampage. That is a war crime of a deck.
I mean, we've seen Travis Tangerine have a great run with Krista City Rampage, and there's a lot of decks out there that can utilize them very well. I think one of the biggest things that UVS got rid of that they shouldn't have done, and I understand why they did, was Star Championship deck lists. Because I understood it was a pain in the ass for stars to have to keep submitting the deck lists. But if you're only working off regionals information or what your playtesters are telling you on there, then you're not going to see everything. There's been issues with cards on release. There's been issues with interactions with cards when the set drops that playtesters and people have missed. So they're only human. They're going to miss things. And if you don't have the information coming in from locals play, if you don't have the information coming in from these competitive events, which count for points, so for me, they should be valid data points. How do you know what to touch? They say, "Oh, we haven't got the data." It's like, cool. And we're now in the middle of Star Championship season, and they're not going to have any more data until Glasgow. So Godzilla and all these other ones are unlikely to get touched because there's no new data coming in. There's no way they can justify touching something now and not touching it last month because the data is the same. And the Shadow Monarch bundle doesn't impact anything. The Fern and Darian stuff doesn't impact anything. They don't really change the way that this game gets played. So it's a weird one.
By the way, we expect you to win Glasgow, Connor.
Oh Jesus! I've not even picked a deck yet. Like
Hey, hit me up. I got you.
Send me lists.
Hey, I'll send you that Pumat list, and you can go.
Yeah.
You can
It needs
go
to be
right
Godzilla.
Glasgow
It
with
needs
it.
to be Godzilla.
I played Ghidorah today.
What?
I am testing everything and everything that will potentially win.
I will send you that. It's basically a 4-check Pumat with City Rampage, Massive Mutant Machine, and 9 Titans, and it is just the most disgusting deck.
yes, send me that.
I'll send you the link.
I've
Message me on Discord so I
I've
know
not
who
even
you are
thought
because I don't
of
know
it.
people's Discords yet.
I've not even thought of a deck to play at Glasgow. I want to play Sun Jin Woo. Other than that, it might just be Fern, just so I can Mr. Worldwide people with a fireball.
In fact, Brett, can I give you a debuild fresh cut grass deck to play?
That sounds hilarious.
It doesn't sound
Right.
very. It doesn't sound very smiley day.
Oh no! It's fun.
Is it using the Deku after they ready something? Yes.
Yeah.
That was my first build with fresh cut grass too.
And there's so much unflip. So initially, this deck has went through about 12 different iterations of characters. But fresh cut just has the auto ready button now, and I'm like, let's go. Do you know what's even funnier? Deku on the move, his action, right? That wee cheeky action performed just to unflip a card. Why? Why is that a thing? It's so good though.
Yeah, that's absolutely hilarious.
We've got,
and if anyone can compliment their way to the top, it's Brett.
We've got someone in chat saying you're a menace with your testing. It's the Hearns 12.
Oh yeah, hi Thomas. Hello.
No, I was about to say, doesn't sound like one of mine. They would have been using a lot more colorful language.
I mean, I do have the Winterfest FCG that's never seen play.
See, there you go. That needs to get up on stream. Let's go.
See, it's got to happen now.
Oh no, if I want to get on stream, I play Sun Jin Woo because I'll be one of the only people there, and they're gonna put that on stream because it's the latest product out.
I mean, if you want to scam it that way, either way.
Yeah. You say that as though I haven't legitimately done well with D-tier characters everyone overlooked before.
Hey, between you and I know who has more top cut experience. We went through that last week.
that was great.
fact that it was off the cuff too.
It's
Just
great.
chef's kiss, no notes.
But yeah, we're approaching 2 hours. So we should probably wrap up because I'm tired.
No
uh,
lie.
yeah, it's it's an interesting topic you definitely pulled up. I did not expect us to actually go 2 hours. I thought we'd be like done in an hour, but it's a deep issue. It's like definitely a iceberg issue that we like. Oh, five handers are coming down. It's just because they're not strong enough. But if you dive into the depth of it, it's a massive kind of body to it underneath of, well, six handers have got stronger. The play experience needs to be good. The symbols of the support and the way that five handers used to survive is no longer there. The fact that they need to be able to use their health as a resource, but the way Pony plays, the way Devil Jin plays, the way that Mikasa and Godzilla plays, don't allow them to utilize this resource. So if they want to have a good turn one build going second, they run the risk of being killed by their opponent's turn two. There's a lot of issues there. This would be this would be a great thing to actually take to design and actually get more in depth and talk about like the future of 500s, the future of zero diff foundations, the future of deadlock, because they're all things that the community is noticing, is changing, and we would love to know what the future is going to be.
I completely agree.
Uh,
Yeah, totally.
Cohen would like to know which Pumat Soul video they're looking for, Cal, because I've just done a deck list for Richard on it.
Uh, it's on the UVS Hermit channel. I think I called it the Pumat problem.
Uh,
It's got J. Jonah Jameson on it on the thumbnail.
See, you need to go with the references, like the fact that like mine is called Pumat Swole because it's from the actual gameplay.
I don't know anything about that though. I still haven't watched Critical Role.
But it's also a pun that's right there. Pumat Soul, Pumat Swole.
Okay, the name of the title is "This Card is a Problem," and it's got J. Jonah Jameson yelling about the 3M menace.
Connor's
I
just linked it in
posted
the
it
chat.
1 month ago.
I've posted the link. Yeah.
Connor's
you,
posted a
Connor.
link for Connor there. So yeah, we're going to wrap it here. Thanks for jumping on, Connor. Thanks for rushing
No
back from locals to jump in.
That's all right.
Been great having you here. You got any streams planned this week?
If I can fix things for Dead by Daylight, hopefully Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 12 p.m. Find us on YouTube now as well because I do the multi streaming. We've just hit 55k views on the YouTube Shorts that we've only been doing for 2 months.
Nice.
I need
Been going all
to
right.
I need to hook up multi streaming on here, so it makes it easier just publishing it to you.
Just to just have it on YouTube. Yeah.
And Cameron, got any exciting videos coming out this week?
Actually, yeah. The other Brett that I know, the one who got me into this game, shared a deck profile on Ace Maneuvers channel, which inspired me to change that deck, and I've got that deck coming out, and it's honestly the most fun I've had playing Universus in a very long time. And it is just absolutely hilarious. I call it G for Go Boom, and it's just the funniest like rink-a-dink if you have it you have it kind of deck, and I absolutely love it. But I've also got a Dorian deck coming out this week because everyone's been giving Fern love but no love for the blue guy, so I decided to play him at locals to test him around.
Wow.
Is he not blue?
No, he's just the Scanlan's #1 fan. Orum's best mate is Secret Love, and you put him down as the blue guy. Wow.
As someone who knows nothing about Critical Role, I'm sorry I'm not a fan.
Wow. Just
Although there is a fun Brett style pun in the thumbnail of that video, which I love because it's stupid.
Is it something to do with his surname?
What's his surname?
Storm.
Stormwind? No.
Storm. Dorian Storm.
No. It's even dumber.
We don't talk about Stormwind.
Oh, right. I don't know, man. What do you want from me?
To be up to date with the IPs that we have in the game, so we can talk about them and make references.
My dude, do
So
you
I
know
can
how
put
much Critical Role content there is for me to absorb at that
yes,
point?
I'm currently 69 episodes into campaign 3, and
Nice, but
that's the literal name. That's the literal name of the episode. Nice. And I think
oh,
today marks like the 1 year anniversary of me starting Critical Role. So so I've done
yeah, I know, I
campaign 1,
know.
2, and 3. I did take a break between 2 and 3 of like a couple of months. Ugh. And I'm
I'll
watching
get to
4.
it.
I mean the Mighty
Yeah,
Nine
I heard
series comes
four's
soon.
been rough. I heard four's been rough.
4's fine. People have Sol is the bad guy because that's his name. What are you on about, Colin? But anyway,
For, for for
4
the for the look of horror on Matt Mercer's face in YouTube shorts that I've been seeing going around, four is not going fine.
4 is in its overture. It's still establishing the story. It's giving us the backstory. It's getting us to introduce the characters. It's setting up the tables. They've got 30 people going on there. The main issue the Critical Role community has at the minute is with the asshats that are being sexist and racist towards the people in there, and are calling out behavior by some of the cast members, but not calling out the same behavior on the white men doing the exact same thing. And I didn't even know this was an issue in the Critical Role community because the people I interact with are so nice until campaign 4. And it's really annoying me that I mean, like Critical Role TikTok, Critical Role Reels, Critical Role Shorts, and I'm seeing all these people complaining, and I'm like, what? Why are you calling out Abria for this behavior, but you're not calling out Sam Riegel for the exact same behavior? They're both doing the same thing, but one of them isn't a white cis man.
On
And
that note,
on that note, we're gonna
I don't
go.
know how we get. I don't know how we get to this to where we like
Yeah.
backtrack to where we're having a
You,
nice
you
discussion.
can do a
again.
Jeremy Clarkson. And on that bombshell,
On that bombshell,
good night.
I do
Good
need
night,
to,
everybody.
I do need to record a content about how campaign 4 is a perfect Universus set being developed, because 13 characters, special abilities, the way that the story's played out is really cool. It's One Piece with magic. But yeah, I'm going to sign off from here. I've got some cool videos coming out. I need to finish off my trading post edit because I've done interviews to get to know a little bit more about the people coming over with all their scariness to Glasgow, so we can not see them as scary as they've been made to be. Just like Connor, they look scary, they look intimidating, but the big teddy bears on the inside.
With cat ear headphones.
Yeah.
The cat
Why you
headphones are
false
dumb. What do you mean? So we're gonna leave it here.
Yeah, you said big and scary with cat ear headphones.
They could be horns. You don't know. We'll catch you all next time. Next week, we'll probably be talking about organized play because we were promised that there was an organized play update coming by the end of October, and Friday is the end of October. So either UVS is going to publish this article or we're all going to complain. Either way, it gives us something to talk about next Sunday.
Is it going to be a trick or a treat?
Exactly. We'll catch you all next week. This is UK Versus, bringing you theories, news, or more. Win, lose, or draw. Catch you all next time. Bye.
Good night, everybody.
See you later on.